Now let's be honest here. We all did that. We all did those reps on leg press and thinking we'd grow. I always had skinny legs and it really bothered me. I was like ashamed of it. And I was really insecure about it. I always wore like long pants, never wore shorts, even when it was like summer, it was scorching hot. Can you imagine that? I was like going outside, it was really fucking hot, and I'm still got on my jeans, I got still on my long joggers, and I'm sweating and it's really uncomfortable, but I choose the insecurity over the comfort, you know? All because I had skinny legs. And there are gonna be people tell you, yeah, you just have to like accept that, and you just be like, yeah, I don't care. But for a lot of people, that's not how it goes. And what I found that a really good way to overcome those insecurities is fixing them, right? Changing yourself, doing something about it. It was so bad. I didn't even go like to the pool with my friends because I didn't want to like show my skinny physique and my skinny legs. And then I started going to the gym. And I thought, no, I'm gonna change something about my body. I'm gonna finally become jacked. And it initially just putting in the effort already made me more confident. But even after like 1 or 2 years of training, my legs were still really skinny, and I still hadn't really gotten comfortable with like wearing shorts. I was still choosing wearing longer pants over the shorts in like situations where it was really stupid to do that. And whenever somebody made like a comment about my legs, I was really insecure about it. And I was training them, and fairly hard, but I still made some like big mistakes that just kept me from growing my legs. And it took really long for me to like actually figure out what I was doing wrong. And even when you think you're doing everything right, you're probably not. You probably have still some issues, even when you're like pretty advanced. You just don't know what your body is capable of. The legs are the biggest muscle in the body, and they are capable of some insane feats. Sometimes you just really need this wake-up call that reminds you that you just have to keep pushing harder if you really want to see results. And now it was only when I realized that I really had to train the legs differently than any other muscle in the body that I really saw some results. And I managed to overcome my insecurities. My legs look much better now. And when I realized that I had to just do something different about the legs, that's when it all went great. So that's what I'm gonna tell you now. The 3 mistakes that I always used to make, and I see a lot of people make in the gym. And if you can fix these, it's not really about just like doing a quick fix. This is kind of a disclaimer right here. You're gonna have to work on these, right? Because even when you think you fixed one of these, or you're doing it right, you might just be lacking like a little bit of improvement. So just take these to heart and just really think about how you can always improve on those. Now, number 1, not training hard enough. Now this is one of the most prevalent things I see in the gym, especially on legs, because it's one thing to go to failure on chest or on biceps. It's not really that systemically fatiguing and it doesn't hurt that much. But going to real true failure on legs, I'd say like only about 3% of people in the gym are doing that. Only this small number. Most of the people, and I myself used to do this for like most of my journey in the gym. I just didn't train hard enough legs. Everyone just underestimates how much you can push on legs. When you think you're done, you probably still have like 3 or 4 reps left in the tank. You have to understand that training legs is something. Legs are the muscles that are worked the most in everyday life. They're the biggest muscles in the body, so they're capable of the most. So you're only really done with training legs when you really can't move the weight anymore. Really, you're not done when you feel like, oh, I can't do another rep. You might think that, but you can. You can. You just always gotta push yourself. Whenever you're thinking, yeah, I'm training my legs really hard, you just gotta like try to push it even more, because there's always gonna be like this point of revelation where you're like, damn, and I thought I was training legs hard before. I never knew that this was possible. I can tell you a little story about mine. So this was fairly recently, and I was still training very hard. I was already training very hard legs, going very close to failure. And so I was doing my set on the pendulum squat, really dialed in, and I see this like bodybuilder, dude, much bigger than me, professional bodybuilder, come like close to me, and he's like looking at my set. And when I think I'm done, he just says like, do 3 more. And I was like, that's impossible. But I can't disappoint this guy, so I tried, and I did actually get 3 more, even though I was like confident I couldn't, but I could. And then on the last rep, I was like, okay, right, I'm done now. And he's still saying like, keep on going, just 1 more. And I was like, this is crazy. But I went down and provided on this rep he had to like help me get the weight up, but still like I never had pushed this hard, and I was like convinced that I was doing enough. So you really never know, and you just have to keep pushing harder. That's how I would summarize this point. Number 2, poor technique. Now this is something that is almost just as bad in a different way. Now, most of the people, as you saw in the beginning of the video, that's not proper technique. And a lot of people think they're using proper technique, but they still aren't. Now, there has been this myth around that you only have to go to 90 degrees of knee flexion on squats and leg press. And this is just wrong. You have to go as far down as you possibly can. With any other muscle in the body, you would train them through the full range of motion. You do. You train your chest through the full range of motion, your arms, your lats, your back, everything. But on legs, a lot of people skip on. Now, there is a little bit of a mobility restraint, like your Achilles tendon has to be pretty flexible and the machine has to be pretty good to allow you to get these like deep stretches on legs. And you can't do like modify the machine with like yoga pads and stuff. This is gonna be covered in a later video, how to like inch that out. But what you really want to do is take a hard look at yourself and think, is this using optimal technique? Go look up like how to do, for example, Smith machine squats. There's gonna be like a video by Mike Israetel, for example. He explains it in detail, what is proper technique for the Smith machine squats. And you really just have to like get your technique dialed in, and it's gonna make going to failure and training hard much easier, because when you're using poor technique, you're mainly straining your joints and like other muscles that are like, for example, if you push your hips too far back on squats, then you're gonna be straining your lower back much more. You're gonna strain your spine and your joints and all that stuff, and it's gonna make training very hard, really hard, because you're just not putting like weight on the muscle. So technique really important, really gonna help you push harder, and you're gonna have to lower your weight to achieve this proper technique, but it's gonna be worth it in the end. And when you can do that, those high weights with the proper technique, it's gonna be like the best feeling. Number 3, you're doing the wrong exercises. Now there has been also this myth around that you have to do like free weight squats and you have to do deadlifts and all these, like there are no really like sources why this is true, but some people just say it. Yeah, you do have to do free weight squats. Now, if you just want to grow your legs, you're just looking after hypertrophy, there's no reason you shouldn't be just doing machines for all of your leg training. All of it. Machines are much more stable than free weight exercises. They allow you to push much harder, and they eliminate like any danger. When you fail on the like barbell squats, this is not a very safe position to fail in. But on pendulum squats, on hack squats, on leg press, nothing's gonna happen to you. You just like can't get the weight up anymore. The stoppers are there, they save you, nothing happens. So I really want to emphasize that going for the proper exercises and just sticking to machines, doing some really stable exercises where you feel like you're really working the legs, this is also like a really important point that's really gonna elevate your leg training by a whole lot. Now, my favorite exercises for legs, to give you some actionable steps here: leg press, if you have a good one. You might need to modify that. You can put like roll up a yoga mat and put it on your lower back, and this will allow you to get much more depth on your leg press if you aren't already. Hack squat, of course, great. Pendulum squat if you have that. Smith machine squat, belt squat. Then of course the obvious ones, leg curls, lying seated, leg extensions. All those are like machines, they are very stable, and this allows you to really go hard on the leg training. And without these, the first 2 points, you really won't be able to achieve them. Always try hard, always try to go to failure as far as possible. Always look out for your technique, keep your technique standardized, keep your tempo standardized, and just stick to the exercise that you know are most beneficial. I've just listed them. You can find them on other YouTubers, a lot of people talk about them. If somebody tells you to do a certain exercise and they can't really tell you exactly why, you shouldn't really trust that information. So that's it for today, guys. Those are the most important mistakes that people are doing on leg training. Like, subscribe, comment if you have any questions.